Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar on the latest and the most comprehensive compliance guide of China's food market. So this session is ideal for those new to the Chinese market, as we will provide essential insights into the current market landscapes and the latest regulatory requirements. So my name is Kimberly and I will be your host today. For those who may not be familiar with us, ZMUni Compliance Centre is a leading compliance service provider based in China with a global presence. We specialize in offering comprehensive solutions for the cosmetics, food, and related ingredient industries, enabling products to enter global markets efficiently and safely. Over the years, we have supported thousands of enterprises, successfully completing tens of thousands of filings, registrations, and consulting projects. So we encourage you to visit our website where you will find real-time updates and practical resources on global compliance regulations, with a particular focus on China's cosmetics and the food sectors. So we also maintain an active presence on LinkedIn, so you can follow us there too. And now let me introduce our speaker for today's session, Winnie Gao, with extensive expertise in food regulatory compliance with several years of experience in managing regulatory affairs for Chinese consumer products, especially the food products. She has helped thousands of global stakeholders navigate and meet China's complex regulatory requirements efficiently. Now let's welcome Winnie Gao to continue his presentation. Kirk.
Hi, this is Winnie Gao. Now let's begin our session today. The webinar is going to be in three parts. The first part is an overview of imported food market in China. The second part is regulatory framework of imported food products in China. And the third part is compliance essentials for imported food products in China. So shall we start? Let's begin with the first part, overview of imported food market in China. Is Chinese food market still attractive for international stakeholders? Here is the chart 1, monthly trend of import value from November 2022 to October 2024. On the chart, the red part is about import amount and the blue part is about import value. From the chart, it could be concluded that the import amount of the China's market is continuously larger than 6,000 tons. Even through the impact of the coronavirus, the market in China is so huge to include many different kinds of imported foods. So it would be a wise choice if you plan to export your food product into China. Another point that makes the market in China so attractive is the stability of business environment. It is very important for business development. The biggest stability of the food import market in China comes from the stability of opening up policy. So far, China has signed 22 free trade agreements with 29 countries and regions, for example, RCEP. Those agreements provide a more convenient, transparent, and stable business environment for stakeholders. China keeps reducing import tariffs. The average tariff level has now fallen to 7.3%. Close to the average of developed countries. It reduces the cost pressure of the stakeholders. So what to sell in China? Well, you identify China as a potential export target. So do you want to know what type of food the Chinese like? The following is the food categories. For prepackaged foods, we like dairy, health functional food, snacks, and beverages. Regarding the consumer's preference, the focus on health and safety and the emphasis on the choice of ingredients have led to considerable growth in the healthy food market. The trend towards personalized needs of different groups is clear. Personalized health solutions. Consumers also focus on sustainable development, the sustainability and the environmental protection of food, plant-based food, artificial meat, circular agriculture, and so on. Imported food nowadays in China is coming from an increasing number of different regions, making Chinese consumers more and more selective. As an exporter, you should begin by familiarizing yourselves with China's regulatory environment, as well as the regulations, policies, and requirements pertaining to your specific products. When discussing potential sales, exporters should consult with importers, distributors, and retailers to ensure that foreign products comply with relevant Chinese rules and regulations. These contacts or their import agents should be able to explain and handle customers' clearance, quarantine, labeling, and any licensing procedures. It may also make sense to work through a local business consultant like us. So let's move on to the part 2, regulatory framework of imported food products in China. In China, food safety supervision is coordinated by multiple departments. China's State Council has set up a Food Safety Commission to oversee food safety. Under the State Council, there are many four departments related to food safety. They are State Administration for Market Regulation, SAMR for short, National Health Commission, NHC, Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs, MARA, General Administration of Customers of China, GACC. And here are their responsibilities. SAMR is responsible for the comprehensive coordination of China's food safety system, the development of major food safety-related laws, policies, and regulations, the implementation of domestic market inspections, and the registration of special foods. In the food safety regulatory system, NHC is mainly responsible for food safety risk assessment. NHC formulates and implements food safety risk monitoring plans in collaboration with SAMR and other departments. NHC develops most national food safety standards and also holds the primary responsibility for the approval of novel food, new food additives, and new food-related products. So if you want to find some food safety standards or novel food substance information, NHC website or database is very useful. GACC, General Administration of Customers of the People's Republic of China, is primarily concerned with public security and border protection. It is also an important regulator for imported food. Import and Export Food Safety Bureau under GACC is responsible for registering foreign manufacturers from January the 1st, 2022. All foreign manufacturers that produce food should be registered in GACC before exporting food to China. GACC also handles food and agriculture quarantine and inspection at the ports and manage import and export policies. MARA is responsible responsible for regulating the quality and safety of edible agricultural products produced domestically. It is from planting and breeding products to wholesale and retail markets, but before delivery to food processors. For the food part, MARA regulates agricultural biotechnology. Regarding the novel food additive derived from biotechnology, NHC holds the primary responsibility for the approval and decides whether MARA's technical experts need to assess the biosafety of the products. MARA develops national standards for the quality of veterinary drugs and pesticides, and also its residue limits and test methods. Here are outlines of the framework of China's food regulation. Food safety law and other laws are the fundamental law of this system. Detailed regulations, rules, and measures were derived from it. They are developed to guide the implementation of the laws. Standards and government announcements are the smaller units of this system. They provide more detailed requirements for the products, such as the labeling standards. This is about the National Food Safety Standards. The National Food Safety Standards are mandatory standards. They apply to both domestic and imported products. Up to October 2024, China has issued over 1,610 national food safety standards and has established the framework of national food safety standards, and it will keep developing food safety standards to meet the development of the food industry. Let's continue to the third part, compliance essentials for imported food products in China. We classify the foods into two main categories. The first one is general prepackaged foods, and the second one is special foods. Special foods could be divided into three subcategories as well: infant and young children formula food, health food, food for special medical purposes. Because of the particularity of consumers, the governance of food for special medical purposes, as FSMP, is tight. Some may need pre-market registration, which I will elaborate later. So what do we mean that an imported general prepackaged food complies with applicable legislations? The first is that the product is in compliance with product technical documents. The second is labeling compliance, and the third is formula compliance. For example, GB, that is in pinyin in China, 7101 is a product technical document about beverage. It defines what is the beverage, product standards, sensory requirements, and chemical specifications. For beverages, we also connect national standards in general, like GB 2761 for mycotoxins. Those are also applicable legislations for beverages. So we will continue with the product compliance. Take beverage, for example, as well. Mandatory labeling items are regulated by GB 7718 and GB 28050. So here is about the regulations which specify the mandatory items on labeling. The name of the food, the list of ingredients, date weight, specification, production code and shelf life, storage condition, nutritional information, country of origin. For imported foods, contact information of importer, distributor for imported foods. registration number of GACC, overseas manufacturer, labeling requirement of imported food. And on the right side are a template for a label. For formulations, we connected several standards and listed here for your reference. Some lists are about certain ingredients, nutrients, and additives that are allowed to be used in foods. If a certain substance is not on this list, we may need to know more about this substance and check in detail case by case. Here is a question. What if an imported food ingredient does not fit in the above requirements? You could not find any standard in the existing food system, where it could be a new food ingredient. So what are the new food ingredients? This page gives you some information about the definitions, the main regulators. NHC is an accepting and decisive agency like EC to European Union. CFSA is a technical review agency. China National Center for Food Safety Risk Assessment like EFSA. So what is the definition of new food ingredients? New food ingredients refer to the following items that have no traditional eating habits in China. First, animals, plants, and microorganisms. Second, substances isolated from plants, animals, and microorganisms. Third, food ingredients whose molecular structures have been modified. Fourth, other newly innovated food ingredients. Who could apply for the registration of a new food ingredient? An enterprise or an individual citizen who intend to engage in the production, use, or import of new food ingredients shall submit a new food ingredient application. So this is about the application procedure for new food ingredients. You entrust a local consulting company for feasibility research. You prepare the sample tests. You write and submit dossier for NHC's acceptance. CFSA will review all the documents, and after a month in which your application open to the public for any suggestions, the announcement of the administrative approval would be released by NHC. Through the process, there are two stages in which you could be notified for material supplementation. The first is at the stage of acceptance of applications. Either you are notified for material supplementation or being refused. The second is at the stage of under review by CFSA. Either you are notified for any material supplementation or being disapproved. The timeline for the process from dossier preparation to the final decision from NHC is 2 to 4 years. So let's move on to this part. What are new food additives? New food additives are firstly varieties of food additives which are not included in the national standards for food safety. Secondly, varieties of food additives which are not included in the announcement by NHC. And thirdly, varieties of food additives of which the scope of uses or dosages have been expanded. Who could apply for the new food additives? The units or individuals applying for the production, operation, use, or import of new varieties of food additives. This page tells you something about those information. So now you attempt to apply for new food additives, and this is the simplified application flow. You entrust a local consulting company like us to conduct feasibility research. You submit all the application materials for the technical review. If everything is okay, the application will continue and be assessed from the safety issue. After that, your application will be approved. We, with many years of expertise, could assist you, and if any deferment happens, you could rely on us with expertise in dealing with such situations. Let's have a look at the supporting policy and the newly opened pathway, which lead to new trends on new food substance. The supporting policy is opinions on accelerating the comprehensive green transformation of economic and social development. The open access pathway is requirements for application materials for safety evaluation of genetically modified microorganisms for food processing. The tool opened a new window for the application of biosynthetic substances in the food industry. So it is foreseen that more and more biosynthetic substances will be approved in the near future. Until now this year, 11 new food substances have been approved by NHC, for example, maritime pine bark extract. While you could not make health claims on general prepackaged foods, there is a kind of food that you can, that is health food. What is health food? Health food contains functional ingredients and has health functions. Health food logo as a blue hat. What is the definition of health food? Health food refers to food products which claim to have specific health functions or supplement one's vitamins or minerals, according to GB 16740. There are two types of health food, filing type and registration type. How do we discern the two from each other? So this is the decision tree. You imported the health food for the first time. Is it a supplement of vitamins, minerals, or other nutrients? And its nutrients are included in the catalog of health food raw materials. If the answer is yes, then the health food requires filing procedure. If the answer is no, then the health food requires registration procedure. Who will apply? Oversee manufacturers. So we can make claims on our health food, and there are 24 claims in total, and I list them here, among which products with claims as help strengthen immunity are the most. You could claim other functions than those on the list as long as your claim get approved as new function claim by administrative agencies. You try to apply for a filing procedure for imported health food, and this is the simplified flow. The time scale is about 6 months. The most time-consuming process is the technical review. We could work for you through the application process. So this is the registration procedure for imported health food. And in general, registration type is more flexible than the filing type. For example, you have more choices in raw materials, but it will take more time than the latter, 2 to 3 years or longer. The license is valid for 5 years. 5 years later, you shall apply for the extension. So under the updated supporting policies, new trends on health food show up. New supporting policies on health food are the functional list of health food and its evaluation methods, for example, function test and evaluation method of health food. new functional claim application, for example, the implementation rules for new function and product technology evaluation of health food. The number of new ingredients for fired health food is constantly increasing. For example, DHA. The form of fired health food maybe include beverage and candy in the future. As a result, creations about health food function, raw materials, and dosages are encouraged. So let's move on to the infant and young children formula foods. What is the definition of infant and young children formula foods? According to GB 10765, infant formula is suitable for normal infants and its energy and nutrient contents can meet the normal nutritional needs of infants aged from 0 to 6 months. Older infant formula and young children meet parts of the nutritional needs of older infants and young children aged from 6 to 36 months. There are some requirements about the formulations. The formulations of milk powders for infant and young children should be registered by foreign manufacturers. In principle, each enterprise shall not exceed 3 formula series and 9 product formulations. Overseas manufacturers should apply for the registration of formulations. This is a typical registration flow, and we start from the submission of the documents. Basically, it will go through 3 main steps. First is the acceptance. If the agency finds that the application does not fall within SAMR scope, then it will end the registration. Otherwise, the agency will notify the applicant for further document adjustment, if any. After that, it will enter the second step, the technical review. After the on-site audit and sampling and inspection, we will receive the final decision, whether the registration is approved or disapproved. This is the third step. On the side, it is the estimated time frame for the registration. So the supporting policies for infant and young children formula foods are steady since 2021. If you plan to export infant and young children formula foods into China, please refer to the latest national standards and register the formula as required. So what is food for special medical purposes? Food for special medical purposes refer to formulated foods specially processed and prepared to meet the special nutrition needs of individuals with restricted dietary intake, digestion and absorption disorders, metabolic disorders, or specific disease states. It includes special medical purpose infant formula for infants aged from 0 to 12 months, special medical purpose formula food for individuals aged 1 year and above. Who will apply for the food registration for special medical purposes? The applicant should be a production enterprise that plans to produce and sell special medical purpose formula foods within China, or a foreign production enterprise that plans to export special medical purpose formula foods to China. The write-down is a logo and is called a blow flower. It is the most important distinguished mark from other foods. This page is about the flow of the registration process. It is a simplified version. You conduct the feasibility research, prepare the application materials, and submit to SAMR. There could be 3 outcomes. The first one is that your application could be accepted. The second one is that you could be denied. And the third one is that you are notified to correct materials. The following step is that your documents would be under the technical review by SAMR. Through this review process, you could conduct some tests, if any. like sampling tests, clinical tests, and on-site audit. After the review, you will receive the conclusion whether your registration application would be approved or not. If your application is approved, you would receive the registration certificate in 10 working days at the least. If your registration application is disapproved, you will have a chance to express your objection and apply for an appeal. The validity of registration certificate is 5 years. So we go through all the basics about FSMP. Now please have a look at trends for FSMP. The government has published some supporting policies on FSMP, such as clinical guidelines related to whole nutrition products for disease and guidelines on the application components for food for special medical purposes. So because of those guidelines, the development of disease-specific whole nutrition products are encouraged. For example, Su is the first registered FSMP for patients suffering from tumor-related conditions. And also, thanks to the guidelines, the registration requirements are optimized and simplified. So it could be predicted that more and more FSMP will show up in the market in China. So before we end, let's review the compliance service we provided by our company. We provide new food ingredient, novel food application, new food additive varieties application, pet food feed compliance, the registration and notification of health food, registration for food for special medical purposes, prepackaged food compliance, labor part.
All right. Thank you, William, for the wonderful sharing. And also thank you all for attending today's webinar. We hope you gained valuable insights from the session. Also, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Please take a moment to fill out our feedback survey. It won't take long, and your suggestions are incredibly helpful in shaping the future events. Sorry, wait a minute. And if you have any questions or need more information, please feel free to reach out. And thank you again, and we hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.